So we're here with Professor Adesoji Adelaja. Thanks for coming to the show.
It's my pleasure.
Can you give us a little bit of background of how you got into the agriculture sector?
Okay, it's actually a very crazy story. When I went to university to study, I went to study aerospace engineering.
Oh.
And after about 2 years, I came back to Nigeria to visit with my family. And my father took me to a person who worked at Nigeria Airways, and the person told me there was no aviation industry per se where I could employ an engineer. So I had to rethink what I would study, and I sought some advice, and somebody said, well, you should do agricultural engineering. So I started with a bachelor's degree in that field, and then eventually took more advanced degrees in the areas of agriculture. I loved the agricultural area because of the mechanical part of it, because I also happen to like cars and automobiles. I like tinkering with things, fixing cars and so on. So that's how I got into it.
Can you tell us more about the work you do at Michigan State University?
Well, at Michigan State University, I'm the John A. Hanna Distinguished Professor in Land Policy. And it's an endowed professorship that I was recruited there 13 years ago from Rutgers University, where I spent 18 years. I was Executive Dean of Agriculture and Natural Resources at Rutgers, and I was recruited to Michigan State. My position is to provide intellectual leadership in areas that relate to land use, land policy, place strategy, placemaking, economic revitalization of places, asset-based economic development. So I am primarily a researcher that does work in those areas, but of course, like any professor, you have teaching responsibilities as well, you know. So much of my work is researching how you reposition places, how do you solve problems, right? Because there's a strong policy element to my work, and there's a strong policy element because the work also involves working with decision makers, governors, presidents, whatever, on how to reposition their countries. So that's the work I do.
Have you done anything with Nigeria, say?
Yeah, I've done quite a lot of things with Nigeria. I'm always doing stuff with Nigeria. A lot of my research is in Nigeria. I've done stuff in Lagos State, done stuff in Ogun State, at the federal level. I did a lot of stuff around innovation, around repositioning the Northeast, the economy of the Northeast, how do you revitalize it, things of that nature. Worked on renewable energy. I helped write Nigeria's renewable energy policy. Did some work in the power sector, did some things in pharmaceuticals, industry development. So Nigeria has been an important part of my focus because obviously, even though I left Nigeria at a very young age, I've stayed connected because of my policy interests. Yeah.
Interesting. So the Agriculture Youth Lab initiative or program, it's partnership with Michigan State University and MasterCard. So can you tell us what the goal of the program is? What do you guys, the focus is, where do you see going 5 years from now? And why Nigeria?
Okay. That's simple enough. First of all, I think if you look across the world, there's been a youth bulge, an increase in the number and percentage of people who are young. In addition to that, there has been rising unemployment amongst the youth. As a person who also has interest in the economics of security and economic development and so on, I worry about what those kids do when they are not employed, especially when they're out of school, so they have no other way, thing engaging them.
Yeah.
Many of the ills that we're concerned about in society, pickpockets, things of that nature, who do you think does them, So there's a direct link between youth unemployment and the economy. There's a direct link with security. And in some recent work that I've just finished, established the link between unemployment and even terrorism, because terrorists recruit from people who are disenfranchised and who have, I call it pissed offness, when they're just pissed off, so they can be recruited. So we recognize the importance of youth unemployment, and so the objective of this project is to improve the environment for getting youth engaged. There are a lot of programs all over the world that are supposed to help reduce unemployment amongst youth, to it in the case of Nigeria and Tanzania, that will be able to then help define new ways of addressing the issue. We think we have to, improve how you identify the kids, improve knowledge about what skills you need to give them for them to be productive. There's no point in training them without off-takers in the street. Build around the needs of industry. Let them be as specific as possible as to what they're looking for to come out of those kids. Improve recruitment, improve screening, improve training, and then when you finish the training for all of the youth, then also improve the selection process for those that are going to be entrepreneurs, and then improve the training process and also improve placement. And we believe that by bringing technology and fusing technology all through those processes, and also by making all those processes knowledge-driven based on working with the end user, the clientele, the ultimate employers or ultimate engagers of the entrepreneurial type people, that we can improve significantly the process. And why Nigeria? Nigeria, huge population, huge significance in Africa, so you can't do Africa without doing Nigeria. But, we also are doing Tanzania. But the idea is that if we learn enough from here, then we'll be in a position to actually scale up, both in Nigeria, but scale up also in other parts of Nigeria. Youth unemployment is a major issue facing Africa. We cannot get our youth used to not having jobs. It's a generational issue we have to address now. Yes.
But why agriculture? Why not another sector?
Oh, that is simple, because if you look, the oil sector in Nigeria has been pretty much destroyed by low oil prices. And even the leadership of this country is saying agriculture is plan B, so because what other sector is there? Mining, it's going to take us years to develop mining. So the industry that's actually there, that actually is already employing a large percent of people in rural areas, is actually agriculture. It's there, it's around us. We just haven't raised it to the next level yet. So the earlier research that was done by folks from Michigan State University identified the fact that it has the potential to actually engage youth. And so that's an important consideration. And so we're doing agriculture because the opportunities are there. Maybe now others will do IT and some of the other areas, but this one is about agriculture.
So what do you think government can do or assist the program with, so that the program can be sustainable?
Okay, we've been working and talking to government. We think that one thing they can certainly do is to maybe pay some attention to our policy recommendations when the policy part of our recommendations come out, and try to consider adopting ideas that come out of this, because there's a lot of brain power behind a lot of our work. And it's not just us, it's working with industry, working this whole process we've been following here. And I think that that's one of the things we really do want to see done. The second thing we really do want to see done by government is where they have programs, and we are making recommendations about how they can improve their programs, that they probably do want to pay a little bit of attention to that. And then the final thing is really, they have facilities, they have programs, and we'll probably come up with ideas that they can adopt, the choice of those ideas, and the implementation of those ideas will be very helpful too. Okay, Michigan State University is probably one of the most engaged universities in the world. Not only do you have first-class researchers, but what is unique about Michigan State is that not only are they working on substantive issues, important issues, they're working the breadth of the globe, and the work they're doing is not just research, but also we're committed to outreach and impact of that research. So we would like to say we have a different personality. What we'd like people to remember this program is, it's centered around innovation. We say that the issue of youth unemployment is a huge one, and we need a solution to it. So we have to use knowledge-based approaches and strategies, which is why we're starting this whole process with research, trying to understand the issues and so on and so forth. The target of 15,000 youth is not trivial. We think that if we can achieve that, then it would leave very little doubt about how you actually scale up, in other parts of the continent and certainly in other parts of the world, And I certainly want to thank you for your involvement and participation. I think your partnership is going to be key because, the people should be aware of this stuff, Yeah.
Oh.